James three, and it's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me? 10, that's his youth right there.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Cortez delivers. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Gibby, meet Freddie. Game 1 of the World Series.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Just Work Sports Radio. Today we're going to be covering the NBA draft. We're going to do a mock draft. We're going to go over it. We're going to go over some picks from who I have. We're going lottery, top 10, top 5. Because it's a lot of narratives out there that I don't want to see anymore, honestly. I don't want to hear. And I'm just going to put that out there, my perspective of it and who I have in certain places, certain fits. I'm going to explain all that. And a lot of just different narratives going around about a lot of different players, where they're going, like what the situation is with them. And a lot of them are boring, honestly, to me, because a lot of them are forced because of how boring this part of the mock draft before, the week before, a couple weeks before, a couple days before. People are bored of saying the same stuff, so they just create their own narrative. So we're going to come up with our own. Hopefully they're better than most. But here we go. We're going to jump into the first segment, which is going to be the top of the board, which is going to be 1 through 5, picks 1 through 5, who I have, where they're going. And yeah, basically that's it. So the Washington Wizards, number 1 overall pick. I think they're going to pick AJ DeBonta out of BYU, freshman. Small forward. He's going to be a great player. I said this a couple days ago, he's going to be a great player. He's very talented on all 3 levels, and a lot of the 3-point shooting scares people off, and I get that narrative because only shot 33% and 77% from the free throw. But a lot of people don't understand, college is a lot harder defensively, what you're facing on a nightly basis. The schemes are more built around you, honestly. Like, you get to the NBA, and it's not as intense defensively until the playoffs, really. And I think we saw that in this year's playoffs with a lot more physicality, a lot more of the refs swaying and what they call, honestly. So I think he's the pick. I think he's going to be a star. He's going to fit right into what Washington's building. A lot of great young talent already there. Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly, I think his name is, Alexander Sarr. And then you add Trae Young to that, who opted out of his player options, but he's coming back. He even was on a podcast a couple days ago saying he can't wait. Like, he can't wait. He's excited. He thinks that the Wizards are going to be the top of the East. And I do agree. I think they're going to be really good next year. And I think AJ fits in perfectly. You put him at 3, he instantly is bringing that scoring. He averaged 25.5 at BYU. And I know it's the Big 12 BYU, not as much huge competition, but the highlights and the film speaks for itself. Truthfully, it speaks for itself. He's a great player. Going to be a great player in this league. I think superstar is written all over him, honestly. I think he's going to be a star, the way he plays the game, the way he reads it all. And what impresses me the most is he has such a good head on his shoulders. His dad and his family are his agents. And I'm not bashing people who have outside agents, but they can really play a narrative into getting into a player's mind, honestly. And he's very grounded. If you listen to interviews about him, he's a very grounded young man. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good. And fits in perfectly. The thing that people think is there's Peterson at 2. He could go 1. In any other draft, he goes 1. But I don't think he fits what the Wizards have, honestly. I really don't think he fits what the Wizards have. And it makes more sense to pick AJ. It really does. He's going to be a star. He's going to be great, honestly. He even said in that thing, he was like, honestly, I didn't work out for any teams. They went to go see, just visit the facilities. The film speaks for itself, and it does. It does. You watch some highlights of the Banta, 6'9", small forward. He's going to be a star. He can be that two-way wing. He plays every game competitive. And what stuck out to me, honestly, is when he was in 9th grade, a lot of these blue bloods started calling from the Dukes, the Kentuckys, the North Carolinas, trying to offer him, and none of it fazed him. And I watch a lot of the high school recruiting. I'm really into that. And none of it fazed him. At a young age. Like, these teams came offering for him, and he didn't even care. Like, he truthfully didn't even care. And you see that sometimes in a few, recent years with, Ant Edwards when he came into high school and blew up in that one summer. 2018 summer, blew up in the summer for the Atlanta Express. He blew up, and all these big teams came calling. He's like, no, I'm going to Georgia. I want to stay home. I want to play for these big, a smaller basketball school, but he wants to explode and be on his own wave. And I respect that. Honestly, I respect that. Like, it sucks as a Duke fan, a North Carolina fan, Kentucky fan to miss out on a player like that, but, like, you have to respect that. They want to go to their own school, pave their own wave. They don't want to play at Blue Blood. They want to. You remembered him for his BYU year, you know? Like, there's a long time ago, Michael Beasley, when he went to Kansas State. He's a highly recruited player, but blew up Kansas State, you know? They're not that great but you go back and you see that film, that puts teams like that on the map, and I respect that. I have a lot of respect for that, and a lot of respect for him for doing that. And shout out to his family, man. They're awesome. Just off the stuff I read about his dad and stuff like that, and I hear, like, through all the media and stuff, he's gonna be a very bright future. Very, very bright future. And our next pick, number 2, the Utah Jazz. A lot of things I've seen. I have a few mock drafts pulled up right now. They have Peterson at 2. And I don't think I'm going to go that. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put Cameron Boozer at 2. And I'm going to explain this. They have Keontae George, Ace Bailey. 2 young guards already. They have Isaiah Collier. And I said this a couple episodes, the first episode I think it was, that they have a lot of good young guards. But Peterson can fit that too. There was a story about, that Keontae George and Peterson have the same agency. They don't want them playing together because they could hinder each other's development. And I get that part of it, but I don't see it. It could happen. I'm not saying it don't happen, but I have Boozer at 2. And again, in any other draft, it would be Darren Peterson 1, but there's a great player named AJ DeBenta. So, like, what can you do? And I truly believe that any of the top 4 of these, the Wilson, the Boozer, the Peterson, DeBenta, any of them could go top, like, the number 1 pick. They could all be. They have that same caliber of player. And I think what pushes most of them is they're all different in their own way, and they have so much, like, different skill set they bring to the table. But with all that being said, I have Cameron Boozer at 2 going to Utah Jazz. That's going to be, if that works out on Tuesday night, it's going to be perfect, honestly. That fits in perfectly. They have Jaren Jackson, Markkanen. They have Kessler, but I don't know if Kessler comes back, honestly. If that's the pick anyways. I don't see him coming back personally because they have to pay him a lot of money. And he can be a good player on a good team, but I don't see it happening in Utah, really. I really don't. It doesn't make sense. I think they go Boozer at 2. And Boozer, man, as a Duke fan, I was not expecting this type of level of productivity. It was more of a, we were blessed with Cooper Flag the year before, And he was just a different level of talent that you have to, like, everyone else you have to, like, lower your expectations for because of how good he was. But Cameron Boozer, honestly, statistically had a better year than Cooper Flag. He was great at Duke. He did everything. Like, literally carried this team for most of the year. 35-3. Yeah, we lost. We choked. I hate to say that. I really do. We choked at the end. Unfortunately, that's kind of the narrative that we have nowadays. But we're not about to talk about Duke, honestly. I don't want to. It's too early. I don't want to bring it up. Still, the wound's still a little too early. The wound's still fresh. But Boozer he's going to be a star in this league. And I think a lot of people overlook him because, he bullied players. You have to realize he bulked up a lot when he came to Duke. He was a lot skinnier, a lot leaner coming into it. But he realized that, like, you have to be this level of size to impact your game. And I think it worked perfectly. It really worked perfectly. He's more of a point forward to me than a big man. He can do everything, 22, 10, and 4. Like, that's just insane. Like, seriously, that's just insane. And he fit that Duke mold of pushing out the big wings, big forwards every single year that we keep producing. And honestly, he's going to be, I think people have him as a low ceiling, high floor, and I don't agree with that. I think he has a high ceiling and a very high floor, which I see the Kevin Love, and I can see that. I see a very productive, young, athletic Kevin Love because a lot of people didn't see Kevin Love. Like, a lot of new, younger generation didn't see Kevin Love when he was in the Timberwolves. He was a star, man. He sacrificed us a ton to go to the Cavaliers back then. He was really good, like, really, really good. One of my favorite players still to this day. The way he rebounded back then, one of the more smart-minded players, and I think Cameron Boozer has that same mold of it, of being a great rebounder and not using so much athleticism on every single rebound. It's more of like, hey, where can I put my butt on you? Pause. But, like, to get that rebound, you know what I'm saying? And, moving around, moves his body well. He's going to be great. And I think Utah is going to pick him at number 2. And I think it's going to shock a lot of people, but it's not going to shock me. It really isn't. It really isn't, truthfully. And with number 3, we're going to move on to our next one. It is the Memphis Grizzlies. There's a lot of rumors about Ja. Is Ja Morant leaving? Is Ja leaving? Blah, blah, blah. Is he staying? I don't know. I think he leaves, honestly, because too many teams want him, and he'd be a good fit on a lot of different teams. There's some Timberwolves smoke about that. I could see that. Him and Ja will be crazy, like genuinely be crazy. But I think they move on. I think they do pick Peterson at the 3, and that fits the rebuild they're doing right now with Edey, Coward, Spencer. I mean, we'll throw Spencer in there, honestly. He's a good young player, really young player. And I think if they can bring in a Peterson to be that face of the rebuild, it's going to slide in perfectly. He was just insane in the games he played this year. There was a lot of, like, a young Kobe, like I said the other day. I don't know if I see that, but he averaged 22 in the games he did play, and just insane. He's so fluid as a scorer. And I think a lot of people mistake him for being a 1. He's more of a combo guard to me. He can play the 1, can bring the ball up, but in my opinion, he has to improve on the going off a screen. If the screen's coming to you, what are you going to do with it, you know? And I see that he can definitely improve on that. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, can he improve? Is he going to be that type of player? He didn't even pass the ball at Kansas. Kansas was good. They weren't great. It's not the Kansas we all know and, like, love, you know? And I have a lot of respect for Bill Self. He's a great coach, like one of the greatest coaches ever in college basketball. I visited their Kansas University a long time ago, just to get into a little thing about me, a long time ago, and you can just feel how much everyone loves basketball there. So a lot of people, like, they weren't the best, they weren't the greatest they could be, but they were good. They're a lot better with them off the court, which is kind of weird to me, but it makes sense, honestly, with the type of player that Peterson is. And the narratives was the stories around him where he cramped up and stuff like that, and it'll go away. It was the same thing with Paolo a couple years ago. I remember watching his 2 games at Duke. He cramped up and was taken out for God knows what it was. Cramps, he was eating bananas on the sideline, pickles, all these different type of things, just to, like, get back in the game. And that happens. These people are growing. The kids are growing. And I think he's going to be a star. He's another superstar. This class is loaded with talent. He's going to be really good. It just 3-level scoring. The way he gets to his spots, nobody speeds him up. He plays at his own pace. He knows how to move. He's the next level of, like, scorer, and, like, to have be that polished at such a young age, it's impressive. It's very impressive. And to be able to, like, navigate that, and I think he's going to be really good for the Grizzlies. He's going to be really good, truthfully. But on to our next pick, and I don't think I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of trades. I don't know. You never really know. So we're basically just going to go off of, like, what I see happening for the next, like, whatever, 10 picks or whatever it is that I'm going to cover in deep analysis. And I think the Chicago Bulls are in a great spot, in a very great spot. The Grizzlies and the Bulls are in a great spot because they can be like, hey, whoever you guys don't pick, we're going to take them. Because that's how good this top 4 is. In any other draft, they'd be the number 1 pick. And they're going to end up, the Chicago Bulls are going to draft on Tuesday night, Caleb Wilson, the power forward, number 4, from the North Carolina Tar Heels. I don't want to bash him because I don't like North Carolina, but he's one of my favorite North Carolina players ever, truthfully. He's going to be really good. I like, a lot of me doesn't want to be like, oh, the Duke bias. I can't stand North Carolina with a passion, but he's going to be really good. Like, genuinely, I was enjoying, how do I word this without saying it the wrong way? When he was playing us versus the first game, because he didn't play the second game versus Duke, I enjoyed seeing how he played. The intensity and the competitiveness he has, he's going to be really good. And he wants to get better. Athletic, explosive, like just that bounce. He honestly, a lot of people were like, oh, Kevin Garnett, Giannis. I see a little bit of Marvin Bagley. And it's just the two jump is just insane. Like off 2, off 1, and he can come down with it, go right back up with it, punch it. And it's impressive. He's going to be a star. Like, I think the Bulls are in a great spot. Giddey's going to be good with him too. Like, it's just, they have so much more depth with him. You slot in, they have a really good team. I think the Bulls are going to surprise a lot of people. And they have a great young coach too, honestly. Like, a great young coach. Thiago Splitter, that's a great pickup for them. The Blazers didn't work out, but he brought the Blazers to the playoffs. Like, it's the Blazers nowadays we're talking about. And they were good. Young, very young. But I think he fits in perfectly with what they're trying to build over there in Chicago. And he's going to be good. Really good. Truthfully, really good. I don't buy into the Kevin Garnett. Yes, he has a jump shot, a little mid-range, a little pull around, a little backspin off 1. I see that. I can see that. But more of a Marvin Bagley with a little bit of a jump shot. And the comparisons for Marvin Bagley coming out of Duke were like a young Kevin Durant. I never saw that. Never saw it. Not once. But Caleb Wilson's going to be a star. Truthfully, I love this pick for the Bulls. One of my best friends is a Bulls fan. I'm really excited for him. I couldn't wait to tell him when that draft lottery came around. I think it's a perfect fit for them, honestly. And now to our next pick, which is a lot of controversy around this because it was originally the Indiana Pacers pick, but they traded away to the Clippers for Zubac, which in the end you have to ask yourself, what do you want? And I don't think Indiana's mad at what they had because Zubac, they need a solid big around Halliburton, you know? But would you rather have one of these players? And at the 5, honestly, there's not, unless you're taking Mara from Michigan at 5, I don't think they regret that, honestly. So I think the Clippers are going to end up picking Michael Brown, the point guard from Louisville. A lot of comparisons to Curry in the shooting aspect. He has a beautiful shooting form, like beautiful, one of the best I've ever seen. And was a highly ranked recruit. Had a lot of back issues at Louisville. They were a good team this year. I like what what's his name? I can't even think of it right now. Whatever. We'll skip that. I apologize. Not a big Louisville fan, but I like what they're building over there. And he was a big focal point of their offense when he was out there, and he was a great player. Like, he's going to be a great player too. That's what I'm going to say that a lot in this video or podcast, but he's going to be, these drafts is so loaded from like top to bottom that a lot of these players are going to be impact from day one. Like, truthfully, day one. Lots of deep shooting range, great footwork, phenomenal footwork, and has a great feel for his teammates. Can get the ball anywhere on the court, and I think a lot of people overlook his athleticism. He's an athlete. Like, yeah, back issues. I think that's going to get worked out. There were some rumors that he was shut down early. I don't think that was the case. I think that he genuinely had back issues because, they're growing. These players are still growing. He's a 6'5". He's 6'5" at like 18. That's kind of crazy. Like, no, yeah, whatever. 6'8", 6'9". 6'5" at 18. He was only like 6'2" going into his like junior year. He shot up very fast. Very fast. Highly touted recruit. Very overlooked in this draft process, honestly, just because of the back issues. Can he get healthy, whatever? I think he'll be healthy. I think that's a perfect fit for the Clippers, You have Garland over there. You have Kawhi. Does Kawhi stay? I don't know. I don't know if he stays, but Garland and him will fit perfectly because Garland needed that secondary primary guard who can carry the ball. And I think Garland fits in that perfect point guard mold where Michael can be a point guard while also being a number 2. A lot of this, like the actions they ran for him at Louisville were off the ball anyways, coming around, catching shoots off threes. I think that's a perfect fit for him. Going to be a great player. I think Ballmer got a star, and I think the Clippers got a star. Steve Ballmer is their owner, I'm referencing. Love that guy. Genuinely love the guy. Loves basketball. Always there. I wish the Kings had someone like that, honestly. I can't stand our owner, but we'll get to that pick. We have 2 more picks. I'll give you a deep analysis of the Sacramento Kings and why we're as bad as we usually are. But with number 6 overall pick, I think I'm going to switch up a little bit. I honestly, and hear me out, it's a very hear me out pick. I think they're going to pick Wagler. Keaton Wagler, the Brooklyn Nets with number 6 overall pick on Tuesday are going to pick Keaton Wagler, the shooting guard. Small forward maybe, depending on the lineup you run him in, from Illinois. A lot of comparisons to a very young, very, very young, when I phrase this, very, very young SGA, in the not too athletic, but he can get to his spots. And I think a lot of people overlook this part of it, and I would say that a lot in this draft because there was a lot of just too many narratives about these players. You have to respect this, and I don't think a lot of people respect this aspect of it. There's a lot of people who talk about this basketball, sports in general, where it's more hot takes, and I can't stand that. It's just all hot takes, hot, cold takes, and I don't like that. That's not what I do. That's all ESPN is nowadays. And I'm not knocking this because, I'm a big ESPN fan. I watch it all the time. It's one of my favorite things. I watched it growing up every morning before school. But Keaton Wagler is going to be a great pick. And a lot of people overlook because he's not athletic. He can't dunk. He can dunk. He's 6'6", first of all. Just didn't dunk this year. But he carried that Illinois team. A very old Illinois team. And he carried them to the Final Four with great performances. He had 40-something this year. 40, against Purdue, I'm pretty sure it was. That's a great team. Great old team. Very experienced team. And I think he's going to be a good player. I don't know about star. I don't know. It's weird for me with him. I don't know and I play into that narrative a little bit of the non-athletic because can he get to his spots in the NBA? It's harder to get to the spots in the NBA because these players already know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? They do deep films more than college does, in my opinion. So, but I think it's going to be good. I think that's a good pick for the Nets. They have Egor Demon over there, Wolf. A lot of draft picks in the first round last year, which A lot of them didn't pan out that well, but they're still young. So we're going to give him a little more time. Good pickup for the Nets. I think he fits in over there perfectly. And now, I'm going to put a little more emphasis on this because my team, if it goes the way I want it to go, this is all my opinion, obviously. I think we pick Darius Acuff. From the point guard, the Sacramento Kings are going to pick Darius Acuff from Arkansas. This is a Coach Calipari-led guard. And when I say this, emphasis on the Calipari guards. He's produced so many, even at Kentucky. If you want to go all the way back, you can go John Wall. John Wall was there. You have Tyler Ulis, not a great NBA player, but a great college player. Booker, Fox, Monk, the SGA. These players, they come out every single year from Calipari, and they produce. And people are surprised. Oh, he's 6'2.5". He's 6'3" in shoes. Whatever. I don't want to. Seriously, these players. We just saw Jalen Brunson win a ring at 5'11", maybe on a good day. He's small. Seriously. And the narrative that we can't play defense. Stop writing off Calipari guards. They do it every single year. Cason Wallace is a recent one. And a lot of people didn't expect the Thunder to draft him that early. It's a Calipari guard. Stop overthinking this. And I don't think the Kings are going to overthink this. I think he wants to be in Sacramento. And it's more of a... Because I don't know anybody who personally wants to be in Sacramento. I don't even like being a Kings fan most of the time. I don't know why we did this to ourselves. This is one of the worst experiences I've possibly ever done to myself, genuinely, is being a Kings fan. I love them to death. I wouldn't pick anywhere else to be a fan of, honestly. And it's because of the fan base. We have a very loyal fan base. People overlook that, honestly. One of the greatest fan bases. You saw that a couple years ago when we were in the playoffs. Will we be back? I don't know. But he wants to be that lead guard in a very young team. And I think we move off of a few different players. I think Reynaud fits perfectly with Acuff. He's a great playmaker. Can get to his spots perfectly. Dropped 50 this year. And I saw this the other day about his competitiveness. He's not as competitive as the rest of the people in this draft, but I don't agree. It was a Jeff Teague, and I love Jeff Teague. I love his podcast. I love what they do over there at Club 520, I believe it's called. I don't agree with that. There was a story this year of Calipari saying he was in a walking boot a couple days before their game, and he just came out there and balled and dropped 50. Come on. Who does that? He's like, yo, coach, I'm not coming out. These are my guys. I'm not doing this. He said in the interview, he's going to be a star in this league. Truthfully a star. 6'3", small guard, whatever. I don't care. We need this. The city of Sacramento needs it, and hopefully it goes our way. He wants to be here. If any other player wants to be in Sacramento, they're probably a little crazy. But, seriously, he wants to be here. His family wants to be here. I think this is the pick. I'm fingers are crossed on this, honestly. I really hope this is the pick. We need it. Some fresh stardom in. And I think he comes in averaging 20-7 off of just having a great feel for the game. There's nobody else to lead this team. He would be perfect. So honestly, I think that's the pick at number 7. Hopefully it works out. I've seen some things about we might trade up for him. I don't buy into that. I think it's a bluff. I don't think either of the teams in front of us pick a point guard. The Nets like him. They have Igor Demnin and 6 other point guards. I'm not even joking. They picked 3 point guards last year. Saraf, Trey Ori. They don't need him. We need him. Hopefully it's the pick at number 7. So let's all pray a little bit. I'll be honest. I need it. We need it. That Acuff jersey is getting shipped as soon as he's picked at number 7. Honestly. And with our number 8 overall pick, it's a little weird. There's a lot of different players they could pick. I honestly think the Hawks are going to pick Adai Mara out of Michigan. And I think Zach Edey helped these type of players coming into the league. He's older, he can be an impact player still, obviously, Zach Edey for the Grizzlies, but Adai Mara is a lot better than him, truthfully. Just fresh off a natty with Michigan, he was dominant all year. 12-6, 2.5 blocks, seriously. Just insane. Just genuinely insane. He has really rare coordination and great passing instincts. Great. Even the game versus Duke this year, I watched a lot of Michigan. I really wasn't high on them, coming into it. I thought they would choke. I thought they were going to be a team that's, really good all year. But they played well. And shout out Dusty May. He's going to be a great coach. Shout out Michigan, honestly. I have a lot of respect for that program. One of my close friends is a very big fan of Michigan. And I wrote him off a little bit. I didn't like him, But I think he's going to be a great player in this league. great passing instincts that you can't teach at 7'3". You can't. And he's going to be a really good player, like a really, really good player. I don't think I'm going to include any trades in this, honestly, in this mock draft, or like the first 14 picks, whatever it is. I don't think I'm going to include any trades because you never know. We're just going to go off based off of, whatever it is. So at number 8, I think the Hawks are going to pick Adai. Great pickup for them. Fits in perfectly. Going to be a star. And I think it's more of a, yes, big men get picked every year. Like, can they adjust to the NBA? He moves his feet perfect. Like, they're great. Great footwork at that size. Lots of speed up and down the court, honestly. Yeah, he didn't play a lot. I get that at Michigan. He's a big man. I think the NBA is going to ramp it up a little bit. And he's going to be a good player for the Hawks. Now, at number 9, I have the Dallas Mavericks picking Braden Burries from the Arizona freshman, shooting guard. He's 20 years old, a little bit older than the rest of the guys in his class, but lots of good feel for the game at that age. He has a lot of everything to him. I see more of a Derek White, and I know you don't pick a Derek White at number 9, but we saw a couple years ago with the Celtics, like the impact he had in the Celtics, just does everything. Can shoot the ball tremendously, can be that secondary ball carrier for Cooper Flag and them over there in Dallas. And I think he fits in perfectly. I think he helps a lot of Cooper Flag's game. And I think there's a few stories I read. I listen to a lot of different podcasts every day just to try to get more knowledge about this, We're still fresh in this game. I'm trying to learn as more as I grow, That he canceled couple visits with different teams because he really wants Dallas. And I think he said that in his Combine interview that he really wants to go to Dallas. And I think that fits perfectly in what they're building. They don't have a head coach right now, but I think he fits perfectly in Dallas. And I think that's one of the last lottery picks they'll have for the Cooper Flag era, which is kind of crazy because he's going to be in second year of the league. But I think they're going to be good next year. Cooper Flag is going to have a tremendous jump, and Burry is going to help that a ton, a lot, At number 10, this is a hard one for me. Truthfully, a hard one for me. Because you can go Yaxel, you could go Morez Johnson. Both Michigan men. But I don't think the fan base is going to like me for this one. I really don't. But I understand. I hear it. I think they trade Giannis at some point, maybe. I don't really know anymore because he was supposed to be traded this weekend. Like this past weekend, he was supposed to get traded, apparently. There's a big rumor, blah, blah, blah. He's getting traded. He's going to go to the Heat. I think he's going to leave. I think he's gone. And they bring in more of a project prospect at number 10. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to select Nate Ahmet, the small forward from Tennessee. And I don't know. I have a really weird feeling about how good he's going to be because I think he's going to be a star. Truthfully, I do. I might be off on this one. I'll be honest because I'm not as confident in this one. He's 6'10". Give him time to grow. People thought when they picked Giannis a long time ago. I'm not comparing. That's not comparing at all because they are two different players, completely different players. But I think Nate Ahmet's going to be good in this league. And I was sick when we missed on him at Duke. I really wanted him to come to Duke. He was heavily recruited by us, Tennessee. I think he's going to be really good. 6'10", small forward. That fits that wing of the modern NBA, I guess you would say. But he can shoot the ball well when he's on. It was kind of ugly sometimes this year. I'll be honest, at Tennessee. Looked a little soft, pushed around a little bit. Let him get some muscle on him. I think he's going to be a good player. And I think he fits more of a project the Bucks are trying to rebuild over there in the post-Giannis era. So we're going to see. I think it'll be Nate Ahmet at number 10, and I think it's a good pick. I have no problem with that, honestly. At number 11, to our next one, it is going to be the Golden State Warriors. Now you ask yourself, where do the Warriors go? Because do you try to get Curry another ring? Do you try and make him, he's the greatest point guard in my opinion of all time already. So do you have him pick a player that can fit in perfectly right now to win? And I think they do. I think they're going to pick Yaxel and then Morg from Michigan. He fits perfectly. He's 24 in September. I know, but he's ready to contribute immediately. He fits that Steve Kerr offense, I want to say, and more of a. And on defense, too. He's a great player. Like, a very good player, older. And a lot of young players don't fizzle out. They fizzle out a little bit in that system. It's just because of how young they are. And it's hard to learn. You're coming into a league or a team where Curry is the greatest dominant, the greatest player of, an era. So, where do you build around that? I think Yaxel fits perfectly. He's going to be a star. Not a star, but a good player. A very good player on good teams. And I think that's not crazy to say. Still a pretty high ceiling, if I would say so myself. Great player, impact on both ends of the floor, get boards, 6'9", small forward. He can do it all, honestly. I think he can be a secondary ball handler, and I think that's a good pick for them. I don't like, I'm trying to keep my bias, because, not a big Warriors fan, but I think it's a good pickup for them. Like, truthfully, a really good pickup for them. So, I think it's Yaxel at number 11 for the Golden State Warriors. And then we're going to move on. We're going to have the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is, where do they go from the elimination in the playoffs last year? I think they're going to pick a player who impacts that team immediately. And they're going to pick Morez Johnson out of Michigan. Another good Michigan guy. I think a lot of these players are going to go pretty high in the draft from them. And it's strictly because of how Dusty May runs a very modern NBA offense and a very modern NBA scheme. And Morez fits that very, very, very much perfectly. He's very physical, very physical, big, dominant guy. He can help out the Thunder perfectly. And honestly, I think the Thunder were missing that a lot. And I don't think he's going to push the development of Thomas Sorber away. I think he's going to elevate that because he's a really good blending player. Only a sophomore, I think that's a great pickup for them. I think they're right back there in the contending. You can't write off Thunder. It's SGA, Presti, They're going to get healthy over this offseason. And Morez fits perfectly in that scheme they try to run over there in Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City, my bad. Sorry, late night episode. We're just getting this off because I need to get an NBA draft episode in. Strictly because I think I have some pretty good takes on that, honestly. I think I have some pretty good takes on that. And I really love the NBA draft process. This is a great draft, obviously. I couldn't wait to talk about this. Like, I've been just writing this script for a few days, honestly. I was really excited for this episode. So, we're going to move on to number 13 Miami Heat. I know. I think they're going to trade for Giannis. I know. I do see that. And I have more of a... Oh, this is a weird pick. It's a really weird pick because where do you go? Where do you go when you have Giannis? I think they're going to pick LeBaron Philon. Truthfully, I think the Miami Heat with number 12 overall pick, or no, 13, sorry, are going to pick LeBaron Philon out of Alabama. And I think he's going to be good, like really good. I think it's more of he's not athletic and didn't test great at the combine, more of a scorer, like really a pure scorer. And I think that fits perfectly. You bring in Bam, Giannis, pending, obviously. Philon fits perfectly into that scheme, and he's going to be a great player too. Very not as athletic. A lot of these players aren't crazy. My next two picks aren't like crazy athletes, but they're going to fit in perfectly to that team. Like truthfully, to that team, and I think he fits that mold. He can be the point guard, shooting guard, more of a combo guard to me, and can lead that next generation of the Heat. Very young still. Bringing more youth to that. I think they need that. I think the Heat should have gone to rebuild a long time ago. I think you should have traded, really crazy hot take, but Bam a while ago, honestly. It's more of the Heat need fresh faces, and I think LeBaron Philon's going to be a great pickup for them. Sophomore, Alabama. Look up his tape a little bit. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good in this league. But we're going to move on to our next pick is going to be the Charlotte Hornets. They have a really weird pick, honestly, because I don't know where you go. I don't know where you go from here. And I think my pick for them is going to be Cameron Carr out of Baylor. And that is because he tested great at the combine. The tape matched up to him perfectly. Had a great year at Baylor. Not crazy numbers, but just a good player. He's going to be a really good player. He helped himself a lot. Explosive at that combine. Great shooting. Can really shoot the ball like really well. Modern wing for the NBA. Lots of growth. I think he's going to be a great pick for the Hornets, honestly. He fits in perfectly. They have another pick at 18 out of the lottery, but he fits in perfectly into what they're trying to build over there. And I think the Brandon Miller, the Con Knipple, I think he fits into that, and I think he helps out more when LaMelo's off the court or Con's off the court with scoring, because he's going to be a really good player. Shot the ball really well at the combine, blew up a little bit at the combine. But I really wanted us to trade up for him, the Kings trade up for him in the lottery, but I don't think that happens. I think he goes to the Charlotte Hornets. I think they have a great pickup there. And then the number 15 pick, we're back with the Chicago Bulls. This is a weird one for me because you got Wilson, you got Giddey. You don't need a point guard here. You don't need a guard. you could pick a combo guard, number 2 guard, but I don't know who's available that with a car off the board here that you feel comfortable picking. I think it's going to be at number 15. I think the Bulls are going to pick Hans Steinbeck. Hopefully I'm not butchering that. I really hope not, because he's going to be a good player. Quiet process for him. Good size for even a center. Even elite shot blocking. Very elite on defensive end. Long arms, long wingspan. Big guy. 6'11", I want to say he is. Good player out of Washington. He's a freshman this year. He could have, honestly, in any other draft, a lot of these players will move up on me. But it's a really good, deep draft, and I think Steinbach's going to be a star. I think he's going to be really good. Fits perfectly what they're building over there. Yes, you already have Wilson at number 4. But he can play that 5. Steinbach can play that 5 for them. And I think they move off Vucevic this season. I think it's a really good pickup for them. I think it's young. Again, another player they're trying to build around with Giddey and Wilson. I think he fits in perfectly over there in Chicago. And so we're going to move on to our next pick. We're only going to do the first through... we'll do 20, honestly. I'll do 20 picks. I don't have crazy deep analysis of the second round, 20 through 30, honestly. If I'm being honest. I know a lot about them. I know a lot about, of them. But I don't think it's necessary for this episode. I think we're just going to do the first through 20 and move on, honestly. So, for number 16 overall pick, we have the Memphis Grizzlies via Phoenix. So, they got that pick through a trade a couple years ago. And I think, surprise, green room invite with Christian Anderson, the point guard out of Texas. I think they pick him, if I'm being honest. I think they pick him. I think Morant's going to leave. And I think Anderson's going to be really good. Shot the ball tremendously. He's a really cool story about him. So a story about him was he's from the U.S., but he has German descent. So he plays, for Team Germany out in, obviously Germany, for the international team. Really good point guard, can shoot the ball from anywhere. Who, great playmaking ability, lit Duke up for the game he played at versus us in MSG. They beat us, unfortunately. But he had 30 points. Just shot the ball tremendously over the top of the defense, under screens. Great handle, great feel for the game. Tremendous shooter. I think it's a great pickup for the Grizzlies, and I think he leads that the Peterson, Christian Anderson now, Coward, Edey, that mold of who they're going to pick. And I think that fits perfectly for them. Great scorer, great second primary ball handler, if I'm saying that correct. Primary ball handler for them. I think that's a great pick for them, honestly. At number 17, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're in a weird spot. I know we said no trades, but I do think they move off that pick. I don't think they need another pick, honestly. Not that they need another pick. They need another player who can impact them. So we're still gonna stick with them, obviously. And I think they're going to select. Oh, this is weird for me. I think Dalen Swain out of Texas, the shooting guard, blew up a little bit this year. Not crazy shooting the ball, honestly. Not a crazy range of shots, but athletic, very athletic, freaky, athletic. Can do everything. More of a wing than a shooting guard, in my opinion. I think he's gonna provide tremendous athleticism to a team who needs it in the playoffs. A lot of young talent they lacked a little bit in this season, in the series, the playoff series they played in. But I think they're gonna pick him at number 17. I think he fits perfectly into a Presti pick, honestly. I think he's going to surprise a ton of people. Didn't have a, blew up, season at Texas because they weren't that good. They weren't, but he's going to have a great, long NBA career, in my opinion. One of my favorite players in this draft. Here, while we're at this, take a little break here at 17. I'm going to list off a few of my favorite players from this draft. I have Boozer. Boozer's one of my favorite players. I think it's going to be surprising to a lot of people how good he actually is going to be in this league. Obviously, I have AJ. I think he's going to be a star. Again, I'll say it, superstar, honestly. Great player. AJ, Boozer, Wilson, obviously Acuff. I'm very high on all 4 of them. Oh my God, I missed a few. Kingston Flemings. So I do apologize for missing that one. I do think he falls a little bit, honestly. I think I like him a lot. Just going through his mock draft I'm looking at right now. I think he falls a little bit. It's more of his height, his wingspan scares a lot of people. But I do think he's the pick for them at number 19 for the Raptors. But we're going to skip not going to skip it. We're going to move on. Number 18. I apologize, I missed that. Kingston Flemings. I like him a lot. I think he goes high lottery maybe in a different draft, but I think people are going to be scared off by that wingspan thing, and he's a little smaller, 6'2", but he's going to be really good. I think he's one of my favorite players, but back to who we think. I think the 18, the Hornets have another pick, and I do believe they are going to, or 17, I apologize, the Thunder. My bad. Late night trying to do this episode, played in. Number 17, I think the Hornets, my goodness. Let me slow down a little bit. I think the Thunder are going to, I got Swain. Sorry, I apologize. I think the Hornets are going to pick, and this is a weird one. Isaiah? No. Henry Visar. I think they pick Henry Visar. I was reading this. I apologize. Henry Visar, I think they're going to pick him. Good year out of North Carolina. One of the great shooting bigs in this draft, and I think he adds a lot more to his game in the NBA. I think he gets that touch, more of a touch around the rim. Good player, like a very solid player at 18. I think that's going to be a great pickup for them. He's going to fit that. Stays in North Carolina, stays there. And I think it's a great pickup for them. I think the Hornets are going to nail this draft, in my opinion. Great, honestly, great picks for them. And at 19, I have the Toronto Raptors picking Kingston Flemings. I can't believe I forgot about him, honestly. One of my favorite players. Smaller, a little bit smaller. I think he falls a little bit strictly because of how small he actually is. Like, the measurements came out, and he was only like a 6.5 wingspan, which is kind of small for a guard at 6'2.5" without shoes. But he's going to be a good player for the Raptors. And I think that he fits their rebuild, what they're trying to do over there, and he fits perfectly into their system. Like, going to be a great player. Doesn't have the great physical tools, obviously, but he's going to be a really good player for them. And I do think they're going to take the advantage of him slipping a little bit. Not a great shooter. Like, can't shoot from range tremendously, but mid-range is insane. Like, genuinely insane. A lot of comparisons to De'Aaron Fox, which he would have gone higher for me in different drafts, but not this one. I think he slips a little bit. Just fast, quick. I have a few things written down. Explosiveness, intangibles, lots of intangibles that keep him up there in this draft for a first-round pick. So I think the Raptors are going to get a good one in Kingston Flemings. Great pick, honestly. And now number 20 for our final one of this episode, before we just go over a few different analysis of the top players. Allen Graves of Santa Clara, which he stayed in the draft. There was low rumors of him coming back. LSU, Duke were in on him. More of a smaller Cameron Boozer, in my opinion, can shoot the ball tremendously well. And they needed more size around Wemby, and he's going to fit perfectly. 6'7", 6'8", not tall for a big, you would say, but fits in perfectly what they're building in San Antonio. He can shoot the ball tremendously well, get rebounds, and very good playmaking ability for his size. And for his, I don't want to say width, width in the court, yeah. Because he's not the skinniest, not leanest, but big, can move around well, moves his feet tremendously well. I think the Spurs are going to pick him. I think they're going to nail this draft. I think they're going to be right back up there with Wemby, with Harper, with Castle. I think Fox stays there. And I think they're going to be right back in the contention for the finals. They had a great year this year. They really did. But now we're going to do a few different analysis of my favorite players of this draft. And I just said that a few minutes ago, but we're going to a few more of them who I didn't name who were already picked. I think Terrace Reed is going to go a lot higher, the center from UConn, than I expected. I think he's a first-round talent. I personally have, in my personal mock draft, I have the Cavs picking him at 29. I think he fits in perfectly. Great player, 3 20-point games in this tournament, built real momentum. A big plug-and-play rebounder, in my opinion, for Cleveland, a team that's trying to win right now. And I think Ibuka Okori, the point guard from Stanford, I honestly have him going higher than a lot of people do. I think he's a first-round talent. I think he goes to the Celtics 27. And it's strictly because he's not crazy athletic. He can't do a bunch of things, but he can score the heck out of that ball. He can score from all 3 levels. Average 23.5 at Stanford. Not a great basketball school, but he's going to fit in perfectly. I'm a little bit higher on Visar, Isaiah Evans out of Duke. I think he fits in perfectly. Elite shooter, fired off from anywhere. More of a play finisher than a creator right now. I think he gets in moments around the rim perfectly. Like, fits in to a lot of different systems. I have the Hawks picking him at 23. I'm just going to name off a few more. Visar, obviously. I love him. I think it's a great pickup for the Hornets if that doesn't go. And I'm not a big on Koa Pete from Arizona. I think he should have came back from another year. Can't really shoot the ball well. Can't do a lot of the things that a lot of people can do in this draft. And I think still a good player. Depends on the fit for me. He depends on where he goes And I think he goes in Nuggets 26. I think that'd be a perfect fit for Jokic to throw lobs to, come off screens, don't get downhill. It just depends on, can he add that shot? Can he get that jump shot down? I have Malik Thomas, the Celtics, 27. I think he's a great pickup for them. Or no, Timberwolves. I apologize. Timberwolves at 28. I already have that. Timberwolves 28. I think he fits in perfectly. Can play shooting guard, point guard, secondary ball handler for Ant out there. Good scorer. He needs more help out there. Seriously, get my boy Ant some help. Like, honestly. Needs another scorer out there. Good 3-level scorer, honestly. And that's going to be a wrap on this episode of the NBA Draft one. So, the draft's on Tuesday. I think it's going to be a lot more trades than people are expecting. I don't have them in my mock draft strictly because of just purposes, they're my own. But I think it's going to be a great draft, great deep draft. And I think there's a lot to be excited for in this draft. Next year, we'll see. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But I think this draft's going to be really deep. Lots of good players are going to come out. A few stars who I think are going to impact teams right away. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. One of my favorite drafts in a very long time. And yeah, that's really all I have for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.